Good afternoon, everyone. Today, let me welcome you to our session on how Thailand is transforming its supply chain with digital innovation. My name is Luengnaruemitchai, and I'm happy to be a moderator for today's session. We have a lot of panelists who actually have a lot of experience in building digital innovation and technology in Thailand. And then they're going to share insight today on how they're going to help Thailand into do performing the digital innovation in supply chain management and its impact on Thailand economy. As we all know, the global supply chain landscape is undergoing the transformation significantly in Thailand. It's driven by the rapid change in terms of technology, vary from cloud technology, data center, digital innovation, and especially AI, in which we promised, we were discussing today who's gonna say AI first. This innovation are not just transforming how business operate, but it's also shape the future of economy worldwide as well. Today, we will explore how this technology are being leveraged to enhance efficiency, resilience, sustainability, and competitiveness in Thailand supply chain. Thank you for all of you for being here today. Before we're going to start, we're probably going to start first with Khun Watsan to explain about how Amazon Web Service is going to help shape Thailand in this one. So Amazon Web Services recently has committed to invest $5 billion in Thailand, especially in the cloud and data center technology. So could you discuss on some recent trends in investment in data centers and technology around the world, especially in Thailand, and how this trend are enhancing the country's competitiveness in this era?
Yep. Thank you, and first of all, for having me here, and it's an honor to be on the same panel with these two distinguished panelists. In fact, we have known each other for quite a long time, but haven't met on the panel for quite some time. Just now, Kunat was mentioning during the briefing session that when you were in the US, you were looking to request that there is this investment coming to Thailand 5 years ago, right? But that doesn't success. So in fact, it's my pleasure that the success actually did happen during this time. And I think I would say that it's one of the most accomplished tasks that I can declare that as a long-time digital and IT professional. This is once in a lifetime kind of investment that I will see in my career. So we recently announced that we have almost complete our construction, and this is going to be launched in 2025. And this is the largest hyperscaler data center for Thailand. Investment is $5 billion, which is close to 190 billion Thai baht. So I think that's a massive amount of investment. And frankly, I can write a book because when we were battling with some of our neighbor countries, at the time it was Vietnam, who also is trying their best to attract investment as well. So it was a long 6-month battle debate and where the country should. Okay. Sorry, I think that's AI. I didn't mention Siri, right?
Oh, you mentioned AI first.
Okay. So I think that's a real 6-month journey where we have to challenge each other, because when AWS is going to invest in any country, there's a long list of what the expectation should be, what are the criteria, for example, like how is the adoption of the government in terms of the digital adoption in that country, what is the stability of energy in the country, what are the network infrastructure stability in the country, which of course this afternoon we were saying that Thailand is probably one of the best in terms of network infrastructure. Right? The professional skills and the workforce is also another area that we look very closely. And I have to say that 6 months is a very intense discussion and debate, and it's fortunate that we finally managed to win the battle, and that's where the investment of this $5 billion is coming to Thailand. And last year alone, we already inject the FDI of about 13 billion Thai baht into the country. So that is a big testament in terms of how AWS see the future of the country. So enough about like how we debate with our neighbor. I think the question now most people will ask like that, what's in it for us as a Thai citizen, right? So maybe I'll share a quick snapshot of normally when AWS invests in any country with such a massive amount of investment, there normally will be 3 areas that will come as a byproduct, right? First of all is the innovation. Of course, we talked about AI this morning, and no one is going to miss the word AI. But think about if an organization wants to do AI, what you really need for sure, infrastructure is the GPU, the high performance computing. If you are going to order a GPU now, imagine how long it takes. I think at least 6 months to a year. And that will never happen if you are a small and medium business. So what we see is that now we are creating a level playing field for small and medium business to be able to compete with large organizations. So if you are small firms, you want to use AI capability, now you have the chance to do it. So that's the first one where we create a level playing field innovation for companies of any size. And secondly, elevate, right? I think another area which people always tend to forget is people is probably one of the most important area. We lack of skill, and if we look at how much skill we need in terms of AI, right? From our survey, like 94% of the company that we survey said they would like to jump into this AI bandwagon, but only 64% are able to find skilled workforce who are proficient in terms of AI. So that's a big gap, right? So when AWS invest in any country, one of the mandate is we will commit to train, to build the skilled workforce of the country. So for Thailand, we commit to build 100,000 professionals by year 2026. And then last but not least, accelerate, right? Which is things related to partners, to how we enable the ability of our customers to leverage the cloud technology. For example, these 2 panelists are my partner in crime. So we work closely with them through investment funding, through programs in terms of how we leverage our partners to deploy and build services on top of it. Right? So if I can use some analogy, right? We are building the power plant, and we need our partners to help us to bring the electrical appliance and plug it into this power plant electric outlet. So maybe I leave it here, and then hopefully we can explain more for the next stage of the investment.
Okay. Thank you, Khun Watson. He already mentioned that he already started building a huge power plant, and then now he's going to build the electrical supply and then make sure that everyone is using it. So Khun Pochara, Bluebik actually have been like, a consultancy, especially in the technical area for a long time. And then can you help describing like, what you actually have been doing with like Thai corporates, how you actually help them transform the digital transformation in this area?
Yeah, sure. I think right now, a lot of corporates basically, they're trying to be more competitive in a volatile economy like this. And one of the key areas is supply chain, obviously, because supply chain is virtually the backbone of every business, and also in terms of economy as well. So in supply chain, there are a lot of things that can be improved using digital innovations and obviously cloud technology as well. For example, a lot of processes can be automated, right? Like right now, if you talk about decision to, let's say, to produce the goods, to procure raw materials, things like that. Everything can be digitized. We can utilize like analytics or AI. I mentioned it, the second. But also we can automate some of the physical tasks as well. We can use robots and we can use digital application, things like that to reduce the manual tasks, right? So these are some of the things that can save costs very easily. And also it increase the ability to make good decisions. It improve the accuracy of the decision. So that's probably, the very clear objective that we can achieve in a very short period of time to save cost. And also another thing that, corporates are looking for is agility. So nowadays, like when you move everything to digital systems, like sometimes you need to make changes to your processes. You need to, maybe when you extend your business into new areas, you need to implement new systems, things like that. And having a cloud technology like this, basically it really improves time to market, right, of the system implementation. So when you can, basically when you find new software or new applications that you want to use in your supply chain, you can just pick and select it from the cloud, and obviously you can bring it to the market very quickly. I think another thing is on the stability of the supply chain as well. Like once you rely a lot on the digital systems, like having a cloud technology basically improves the stability of your system because when you maintain your own system, there's a risk that the way you maintain your system is not best practice, right? But when you rely on cloud technology, basically you have the best professional looking after this infrastructure. So it basically gives you comfort when you want to digitize the whole process. And I guess another area is also on scalability. When you scale your business very fast, sometimes you basically you can't really invest that much. And obviously with the physical infrastructure, it needs a lot of upfront investment and stuff. And in a volatile economy like this, I think having an option value is also very important. So moving towards cloud basically gives you an option to opt out anytime or scale down, scale up. When you have like new opportunities, when you have a lot of demand, you can scale up your system, you can scale up your supply chain operations. But once you don't have enough demand, you can scale down as well, and that reduces the cost of running the business. So these are some of the things that digital innovations plus cloud can help the business.
Thank you very much. Now let's turn the table to the, I would say the youngest one in the current role, right? She just became the country managing director at the Accenture for about 2 years, right? I think since April 2022. And then Kun Jeff, can you actually talking about how you first transform the business at Accenture? I know that you have hired a lot of people. You even acquired Rabbit Tails as part of Song Group. And then how do you think that what you transform at the Accenture will actually help Thailand as a whole to, in terms of how to be better at the digital economy?
Thank you. It's such a privilege to share the story, especially after doing my first time as a consulting, right? Working for consulting firm. So now the infrastructure being built, he did a better job than I do. It took him 6 months to convince the investment. It took me a year to do the same thing. So 2.5 years ago, when we realized that there's a lot of gap, there's a lot of challenges in the company or in the organization here in Thailand to transform. People thought it was digitization and that's one is done, right? One and done. It's not the case at all. So what we realized that the company in Thailand facing 3 big challenges. Number one, there's an infrastructure gap on how they And number two is how they leverage the diverse set of technologies. And number three, there's a talent gaps. I think, Khun Wasan addressed the infrastructure already. And we realized that we have to do better job in terms of serving our client. So Accenture has 750,000 employees across the world. In Thailand, when I joined, we had close to 1,000 employees. And today we have 5,300 employees in 2 years. Why did we do, and what did we do, right? So to address the gap that we've seen in the organization, we decided that we need to help clients do 3 things. 1, drive cost saving. Number 2, help with the efficiency. And number 3, drive change management in the organization. Therefore, what we did was that we brought Accenture Operation Intelligence Center to be set up here in the heart of Bangkok. So we addressed the 3rd pillar of talents. A lot of people kept telling me that, talent will be a key, that we can't grow the business here in Thailand. Guess what? We have 17 nationalities now serving in Operations Center here in Thailand, serving global clients. So we help serve the procurement, finance, operations, marketing, and trust and safety. So all 5 being set up here. And then in order to help clients serve their clients better, we ask for the investment. As a result, now we have Rabbitail. We acquired Rabbitail so that we can set up the digital marketing team or marketing organization here in Thailand. So as Khun Wasan mentioned, being a Thai person working for a global company, one of the jobs that we do is trying our best to pull the investment into the country and hoping, we can serve what's missing here in Thailand. And I think, now looking at how we capable in serving our own clients by having, 70% Thai, 30% from around the world, 17 nationalities working here in Thailand. I think it said a lot about the confidence level of the company like Accenture or AWS to actually looking at Thailand as a center in this region to serve the global customer that we have.
Thank you for your insight. So as we discussed the first round, the audience may not be able to grasp the technical detail of how much a challenge is this in terms of doing this type of digital transformation. So I would like to use this second round to actually discuss in this aspect. So let's first start with Khun Pochara. I think we discussed a little bit earlier about how you actually help the business doing AI and all this transformation, right? And then I know that it's not easy at all. Can you share some example or some case study that you can share with us today?
Yes. I think so basically we have done a lot of digital transformation projects for leading clients. And some of our clients are actually a Thai-owned global company. So they basically sell their products through to the world. Basically, some of the leading beverage companies are actually in Thailand as well. So one of our clients, who is one of the leading beverage manufacturing company, was looking for a solution to improve their supply chain process. And as I mentioned before, the supply chain is basically the backbone of virtually every business. And to stay competitive in the market, you need to keep the cost down. You need to improve the accuracy of your decision making. You also need to make sure that your supply chain is stable. So this is exactly what the client actually wants as well. So we went through, all the process re-engineering. We also went through, a lot of research to make sure that we find the right technology to improve the process. And one of the major technologies that everyone is talking about right now is AI, right? So looking at the supply chain process right now, you can see that AI can be integrated into a lot of parts in the process. For example, on the production side, first you want to make sure that you produce goods enough for the demand. And obviously you don't want to produce too much because that's your basically that's the cost as well. That's your capital cost that is sunk into inventory. So what you can do with AI is that you can build a model, basically utilizing all the data from the past and also some of the signals from the market as well to forecast the demand in the market, so demand forecast. And that, you can use that as an input for your production planning, right? So basically you can plan ahead how much are you going to produce and also can optimize the way you maintain your machines as well, like predictive maintenance and stuff. So that would reduce the downtime, increase the efficiency, reduce waste. Also, if you look in other parts of the processes, for example, like in terms of logistics, right? You can streamline the logistics. You can streamline how you transport goods from one point to another. And basically, you can use AI to do like route optimizations to reduce the number of times you need to transport, from one point to another. You can also try to, bundle, goods in terms of, to do transportation more efficiently. Also, you can reduce the mistake, right, and reduce the downtime or reduce the waste on the waiting time, like you go to the wrong route and basically you get stuck in the traffic, things like that. So all of these decisions can be incorporated into a model that helps, the business makes decision much faster and much more accurately. So that's something that AI can do. And obviously, we can do some other things on the defensive process as well, like fraud detection and stuff, like on your procurement side, like because that's probably one of the biggest costs for procurement. Sometimes you can optimize how you procure your raw materials as well. You can bundle some of the orders together to consolidate the suppliers. So these are some of the decision makings that can be optimized using AI. And obviously, in the future, like we're also looking to extend this project into, to automate some of the processes, like using robots as well, because AI can control some of the robot on site using, the newer technology, the better connectivity. So that's also possible.
And then I think one of the difficult problems is that how you actually measure whether what you invest in actually worth the investment. How do you actually have like IoT or anything like that to help measure like how much you actually save and then think it's worth the return on investment?
Yeah, I think one of the beauties around analytics or AI is that you can try to simulate the benefit you can get from the model using the historical data. So that's always the thing that we do first to test the feasibility of the investment using simple analysis to see if there is any room for improvement in the process. So that would be the target return on investment that we can calculate upfront. But obviously in real implementation, there could be some deviation in terms of numbers. But I would say in general, we sort of use this kind of methodology to filter out some of the less feasible use cases and focus more on the more feasible use cases. So that would maximize the ROIs.
Thank you. So next up, Kun Watson. I think AWS actually, even though the local data center is not ready yet, right? But AWS actually have been probably the first cloud provider that started in Thailand. So can you tell me like, how AWS actually help customers, especially in Thailand, to do their business better using technology.
Sure. I will put it into stages. One which already been deployed, and the other one is something that we expect to see the incremental new use cases once we have the Thailand region up and running. Right? For the first one, maybe I'll add to what Kun Bot mentioned just now related to one of the supply chain, which is related to demand planning. And this is so crucial because if you are a retail and you are not able to see the demand, end up you are going to have a big chunk of inventory, right? So what we are seeing and what we are doing with one of the convenience store in Thailand is that we are working with them to do the modeling of the demand forecast. And what it means, like currently when they are opening a new store, what they do is that they will put the merchandise or things on the shelf based on the profile of the branch. For example, if that convenience store is close to a school, then the profile is school-based branch. If that store is close to, let's say, a hospital, it will become a hospital-based profile. And things that they put on the shelf are completely different because that will determine the overall margin because they know that if it is school, normally students will buy all those snacks and so on, right? But if it's a hospital, then people will buy like milk and other things that they will give to the patient. So the profile is so important that if they make it right, they get it right, it will save them like 3% of their inventory cost. And that's a lot because if you're talking about like hundreds of thousands of SKU, that saves a lot of money. So right now we are working with them, and so far it has to be using the model, and you have to train them branch by branch. And that's how intensive the use of the GPU, the high performance computing are, right? So that's what we are working with them right now. And another case which is also in retail and very important is probably if you have a chance to visit the convenience store, you will notice that the same SKU, if it's in Don Mueang, in Bangkok, for example, it might cost you like 30 bahts. On the other hand, if you go to Phuket, which is more of a tourist, the exact same SKU or same goods probably going to cost you 35 bahts. And this is where we work with one of our customers to do price optimization because they know that for each of the branch, the demand is different. And that's where they are able to play around with the price so that they can optimize the margin as well as to lean the inventory. So this is in a retail where we are seeing a lot of usage in terms of how technology can help. For FSI, one of the good examples during COVID is with one of the insurance, where you know that if you are going to apply for first-class insurance, normally you have to drive your car, they do inspection, and then they will say like how much you are going to cost in terms of the policy that you are going to apply. So with COVID, people doesn't want to drive their car to be inspected. So what they do now is they come out with the computer vision where the person who the car owner, just take the video of his car, and then they will send the video to the insurer. And they will use AI to determine like how damaged is the car, and that will apply the amount of fee that they have to pay. So this is another way that technology has enabled people to be more productive. Right? This is stage one. For the stage two, where we are not able to do it yet today, but hopefully with the new region coming into Thailand, which are normally the cases where you require like an immediate response time. For example, for you to fly a drone to do some of the very critical tasks, or maybe just a task like when you're using agriculture and you want to control the drone. The response time that, let's say you want the drone to turn left, but if you have to send the signal all the way from Bangkok to Singapore and come back, it might hit a tree already. So that is something that we are seeing technology where the data center infrastructure is in country where latency is probably reduced by half compared to when you are sending it from Bangkok to Singapore, which is the closest data center right now. So new applications that require instant decision, real-time, and almost near real-time latency. Those are something that we are expecting to see more of those applications in the coming months or years once the region will be launched in Thailand. So I think those are some examples that I see. If you ask, I think the list goes on and on because technology will touch every angle of the business at the moment.
And then I heard it's not just because of the latency, right? There's also some aspect in terms of like legality, the data sovereignties and all that. That's why you require data center in Thailand, right?
Yeah, I think that's one of the areas that we are starting to see, especially for the financial services, for military, for the government sectors where it was almost a mandate and regulation that data has to reside in country. I think that's also an area where we can have the sovereignty of the data in countries, and it will be managed and regulated by the Thai laws. And hopefully with the upcoming virtual banking license, that is also another application that we would expect that the local data center will be able to provide more facility compared to using the data center outside of Thailand. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So now last one, now Kun Patama. I think you have a lot of experience to share, probably even before you join Accenture, because you have experience even helping government area to provide all the helps and necessity during COVID, right? Yeah. And then how you actually use those experience to help transform Thailand even further during your times at Accenture.
Yeah. So thank you for the question, because if I were to add more on what Kun Wasan just mentioned, I think every company is now on earth trying to be data-driven company, right? You want to have or using data to make the right decision, to be able to grow the business and find even the new S-curve, so that you can sustain, the growth even after COVID. So I think what I've seen happening here in Thailand is that, we are early adopter. If you look at it, right, any new technology that being introduced to the world, you've seen Thai people using them more and more. I've seen, even blockchain as a good use cases where, we actually using blockchain for government bond, selling government bond, right? And even to drive the transparency, we have, one of the largest seafood exporter in the world here in Thailand, right? And when you look at, we sell seafood to the world, people now looking at sustainability and they want to know the origin of where, the trim or the seafood was cured here in Thailand. And I think, the technology, the adoption of the technology now being used for that. However, on the generative AI, we start seeing, an excitement a year and a half ago when Gen AI being introduced to the world. It took the world by storm, right? And we've seen lots of people, start using them. However, if referring to the morning session, I think on the generative AI, we've seen a little bit of slow in terms of the adoption of the of using Gen AI in the organization. It's not because they don't want to use it, but I think the data becomes a key concern that most of the people don't know how to monetize them. And I think this is the area where whatever you do from, doing the predictive maintenance, trying to predict the future, you need to make sure that the data model is there so that you can make decisions quickly and more accurate. So the fact that we have the infrastructure being set up here in Thailand, not only that, we provide the data sovereignty, we solve the data sovereignty issue, but I think also on the security side, that is also the key. We need to make sure that we protect the data because every investment that's coming to Thailand, they're looking at the infrastructure that's secure and be able to provide, closer as using the edge technology to make that decision. So if I were to look at, cross-industry, financial services, far ahead in terms of leveraging the diverse set of technologies from blockchain, now generative AI, cloud-based decision making so that they can make decisions faster. A lot of modernized application being played into the role. Two, you start seeing cross-industry more and more. And it's not just financial service doing the financial service work, but in Thailand, you see the partnership between telco, financial services, oil and gas. So you've seen cross-industry being, working hand in hand so that they can serve beyond 70 million people here in Thailand, but outside Thailand, given the regional expansion. And number three, in terms of the talent gap, you've seen a lot of companies working hand in hand in co-developing the curriculums with the university. We're not going to wait until the student complete their degree. We're co-creating the curriculum to make sure that, even especially on the security side, we provide the real practice, what's happening in the world, and co-develop that with the professor so that by the time the student complete their degree, at least the gap in terms of onboarding going to be slim. And I think cross-industry that I've seen now more and more trying to optimize, the infrastructure that being brought in by the technology provider. I have a lot of hope, especially, seeing the growth in terms of how the company drive digital transformation today with the help from the government and also partnership with the private and academy at the university. I've seen more and more success in that area.
Thank you. So you mentioned something interesting. You're saying Thai people actually are really fast at adopting new, technologies and products, right? But we do not see a lot of startup and unicorns and all those kind of things. Can you mention a little bit, why that's not the case, and do we need that? And then in order for us to actually thrive in this era, do we need those kind of startup, or we can just simply keep transforming Thailand based on what the traditional business?
Yeah, so I guess as Kun Patama mentioned, I think we have a lot of right ingredients for the digital economy. We have one of the best talent in the region, and obviously we have very good digital infrastructure. Like we have AWS coming in as a cloud infrastructure. We have very good connectivity on mobile phones and stuff. So adoption of technology is very high here. If you look at businesses like financial services, you see that our mobile banking applications is much more advanced than those of other countries, things like that. So we have all the right ingredients. But I think the questions around, why we don't have a lot of startups is probably more on the economic context of the country. Like we have a lot of large conglomerates, a lot of large companies that contribute, to a big portion of the economy. And that's basically how the economy is run right now. And also, I would say a lot of startups right now, they only look at the local market. And that's probably too small to attract investments from, other countries and stuff. But I guess like in the future, we might see something more interesting, like the partnership between big corporates and startups. That might be a success, key success factors, or maybe a recipe for success in the future. Because we'll see that since corporates are very strong in Thailand, like big corporates dominate the market, but innovation really, I would say, initiates mostly from smaller companies who really don't have legacy systems, things like that. So partnership between these two types of companies would bring the best of both worlds. And as we have the right ingredients, I think I'm quite optimistic, for the future. Like we see a lot more partnerships. We see a lot of CVC, corporate venture, and money from them and strategic partnership from them to the startup would be much more beneficial from compared to just money from pure financial investors.
Okay. And then on Kun Watsan's side, right? I think when I was at AWS, I saw like a lot of startups using AWS because it's so easy to start it up and then you can turn it off when you don't use it, right? So do you think that you're gonna see a lot of that kind of impact in Thailand when AWS fully open the region in the local region?
Yeah, sure. I think for us, we were born from a startup community, right? Because that's where the developers normally will be the first one who use cloud as a platform. I think most, if not all, of the startup, and you ask them what is a server or how a server looks like, they probably don't even know how it looks like. So that's something that you can imagine how were they born. So we call them like born in the cloud organization. But having said that, given that there are so many factors, underlying factors that underpin the success of how a startup can become a unicorn, I think probably it's beyond the conversation here. But what we are expecting that with the coming of the region in Thailand, we will be the infrastructure that enable the local startups to at least make it easier for them to deploy their first idea. Because like what Jeff Bezos says, right? He the founder of Amazon, he said like the innovation comes with different shape and form, right? But the one that allows and empower the others to unleash their full potential and pursue their dream is something that Amazon and AWS is building. And that's what we expect the startup to leverage this platform to be creative, to build their dreams. And I think to be unicorn and not let the other parties, probably the government, to draw more attention of the VC. But at least you get the foundation right, get the developer communities able to build their talents. I think that's the first stage that we need to make sure that this is addressed.
And Kun Patama, since you, as I mentioned earlier, you work with a lot of startup during COVID time, right? Do you see some hopes that those companies will actually thrive in the futures and become much bigger and contribute to be a part of Thai economy?
Yeah, I think most of the startup I've seen here in Thailand has a lot of potential. Play to your strength by leveraging, the infrastructure that being built by the company like AWS, or even the well-established company like Accenture. Use us to get to, the global market, because we can actually leverage the company here in Thailand and to serve the clients in the world. And that's what we actually using, or partnering with a lot of local company, even Bluebik, right? Because an example that I want to give, like the operation center that we set up here in Thailand, guess what? 5 global clients. If I name it, you know all, right? And it's being served from the heart of Bangkok. And we actually look into partnering with, the startup to even get them, to explore more opportunity outside Thailand. As I mentioned, 70 million people cannot be your customer. It has to be 5 billion people in the world. And you can only do that with technology. It's not how we use technology anymore. It's how we live technology and make sure that we be able to leverage the platform that being built here in Thailand and get to the clients outside. And keep in mind, when you look at the business model, now in the past you have business to consumer. Now you start seeing more and more, the manufacturing to consumer directly. They're trying to cut the middle person, right? Because technology allowed the manufacturing to be able to do that. And I want to make sure that we recognize, how important that all of us has to adopt to the new way of doing business. And make sure that even, myself, I have to keep up with the technology all the time, even with AI that came out. I spend Sunday all day learning how to use each of the tools to make sure that, I can keep up and I can talk to the young generation. So I think, the young generation thinking about, having your own business. I seen the growth in the startup that using Gen AI as a way, to drive the new business model. This is the opportunity, and I strongly believe here in Thailand, given the geographic location, we in the heart of, I think, Southeast Asia, and with the infrastructure that being brought to the country, the world is in our hands. And I can still, confirm that even today, the 5,000 is just employees that we have, it's just the beginning. We aim to get to 10,000 in 2 years' time, and we firmly believe that we can serve, the world from here in Bangkok, using the infrastructure that being built, using the talents we find here in Thailand, and using, the infrastructure, the policy, the rules, and everything that, open up, for investor to come and, invest here in Thailand. There's a lot of opportunities to leverage that.
Okay. And then since we are going to come to a close soon, so I would like each one to actually give some comment, and this would be a surprise question, right? So I would like to see how each one of you actually think how Thailand is going to be like, in 5 or 10 years' time, and then how your business can actually be a part of that transformation.
Yeah, I think it's very clear in my mind that Thailand is moving towards digital economy. And I would say, the world is being globalized right now, so there's really no boundary between countries. We are moving towards FTA and stuff. So we will see more Thai companies competing in a world stage, And obviously, that would drive the company to be more competitive. They need to adopt the technology to be more competitive. And the only way is to adopt digital technologies, right? So I would say that we will see a lot more innovations that are built and adopted, by Thai companies. We will see a strength of the companies being improved. And I think since, I mentioned before that I think Thailand has all the right ingredients. We have, the right talent, even though our labor cost is probably higher than some of other countries. But, with the new technologies like AI and stuff, I'm very sure that we can leverage the strength of the talent we have, combining with, the AI technologies, and we can be more efficient than before. And obviously, since we are so open-minded to the new technologies, we will be fast adopters of more technologies. So very clear, in 5 or 10 years, we'll be more digital-oriented. Some of the companies might be even digital-first companies. And I'm very sure that our economy is going to grow very fast in the digital era.
I second that to what Kun Bot mentioned, right? We are confident that this is going to be the hub, at least for CLM countries, where obviously they will also need to elevate their usage of cloud, and we can be the hub for that purpose. So now what I need from each one of you is, given that investment is here, so I need you to help to use our cloud, because otherwise in maybe 2 years from now, you won't see me. But joke aside, I think that's, we already started looking into the expansion phase already. So we are very confident that the country is moving towards the direction in terms of the digital adoption. So maybe if I can leave with a few things, probably there are 3 areas that I would like our organization in Thailand to be mindful of. One, we talk about skill. So we can't deny that skill and workforce, digital workforce is the #1 area which we would like most of the organizations to double down in terms of the people. We have courses online, offline, whatever you can, just work on it, because I think that's a door opener for lots of things to come. Secondly, it's related to cyber security and privacy. I think we haven't mentioned much about that, but it touches all part of the technology, right? Even for example, like we talk about AI, Gen AI, but right now the adoptions to external is still a bit limited, because most people are mindful that you can't predict if there's going to be hallucination that will be generated from Gen AI or not. And if it is, and you're giving that services to someone else external, I'm not sure you are going to be sued or not, right? So that's one of the roadblocks or blockers for Gen AI at the moment. And we see that most of the usage now is internal, because a lot of people want to test it. So frankly, right now we are stuck in the phase where we call proof of concept, and it hasn't passed the chasm to real production that much yet. But we expect this to improve over time, and that should be better when technology gets more mature. And last but not least for me is data. That Kun Jeff mentioned about data, and I have to emphasize that data is really my goal for you. We talk about data monetization in some organization right now. For example, like telco, they are selling the data. For example, when people were stuck in the traffic, they are able to sell that as the good location where people will stay there on the traffic, watching the billboard. That's where they're making money of it. Or another good example, and this one I have to give credit to one of our customers in the Bank of Ayutthaya. He said that, I think initially I thought it's a joke, but he said that, he asked us a question, how often that you charge your iPhone or your mobile phone? Some people said that, for myself, like I charge when it's like 20% left, right? If you ask my wife, she keeps charging even though it's 90%, she keeps charging all the time. So they said that this is one of the factors that they use to give the credit rating. She said, like, for example, my wife, who are so, so paranoid of that, is the best person that they will give the credit to, because they will never miss paying you. So this kind of data is something that you have to be mindful that every single data, just only how you know how to use it, will be the gold mine for each of the companies here. And last but not least, for us, Amazon is the largest spender of R&D. We spend $50 billion every year. And we are happy to share how we use our culture of innovation to share with organizations across the world, including Thailand. If you are interested, maybe you can give our representative a call, and we will share on how we can leverage technology with innovation using Amazon culture.
Yeah, if I were to add, right, I know some of you still skeptical about how to use generative AI to your benefit. Don't waste time doing proof of concept. In the past year and a half, we've done thousands of proof of concept. Leverage the content we have on the website and the learning that we went through, so that you don't waste time or spending money or wasting money on proof of concept. We know by industry how generative AI being used and which one give good return on investment. So that's my number one if I were to leave it, right, with you in the room. Number two, we talk a lot about data and how to monetize data. Data belong to you. Make sure you protect it. The PDPA is become clear that lots of data being hacked. 50 million names and phone numbers and address and all that being stolen. That's why you got all the call from those outside or at the border of Thailand. But make sure that your data is protected. Until you realize that your clients are gone, the data that you've been collecting, you can't monetize the data unless you know how to make relation with those data. So protect them and make sure that you're clear who can have access to those data. And number three, which is key, every industry now leveraging cloud-based so that they can make decision faster. The near real time become key. It's no longer how large your organization is, it's how fast you make decision. You're using data to make decision. So make sure that you choose wisely which cloud you use. And of course, it has to be AWS, of course. It will help you in a big way, because I start seeing more and more companies adopting to cloud-based. And it actually helped them drive business decision even faster. And last but not least, as I mentioned, the technology is here to stay. It's our responsibility as we use the technology, as we in technology company, we're trying to drive responsible AI. We want to make sure that AI being used for the good. Technology can be used in differently. It's in the hand for us to use technology to drive, a better world, a better future, even sustainability, the responsible AI, and all of the new technology that being used by the kids. Make sure you not be afraid to actually play the part and helping us drive for the better future for Thailand and for the world. Thank you.
Thank you. As we conclude the session, I would like to thank all the panelists for their time and contribution today. And then I hope everyone actually have some more insights on how digital innovation can actually help transforming Thai economy. And then I hope that you enjoy the rest of the session today. Thank you.